When she was 5 months pregnant, a woman who claimed to be Liang Tingshan's fiancé came to her door. She took me to the Hong Kong club, which only the rich and powerful could enter. There, I saw another Liang Tingshan. The moon is surrounded by stars and is born noble. His brother said, "You have pretended to be a poor man for 6 years, and used a fake name to get a fake certificate with someone else's sister. Aren't you afraid that Nanyan will know the truth and break up with you?" Liang Ting smiled confidently. "It can't be broken off. She can't leave me." I stumbled away, made an appointment for an induced abortion, and boarded a flight to leave Hong Kong on the day Liang Tingshan got engaged. It was also this day. Hong Kong media reported that the heir of the century-old Zheng family broke off his engagement on the spot and had a car accident on the way to the airport. Standing outside the gold and jade box, I felt like I was falling into an ice cellar. And my cheeks were so pale that there was not a trace of blood. The door of the box was half open. Liang Tingshan leaned lazily on the sofa, his long legs casually crossed under his black underpants, revealing his innate nobility. Why didn't I notice it before? It's the nobility that emanates from Liang Tingshan's bones. I am not the kind of person who would live with me in a 14 square meter public rental apartment, eat discounted bread from a convenience store, and would rather get up 2 hours earlier to save money on the subway fare. The conversation in the box continued. "Zhuolin, is it that Miss Nan can't leave you, or you can't leave her?" At this moment, hope arises in the dead heart. I was like a prisoner awaiting sentencing, looking forward to what Liang Tingshan would say next. He couldn't live without me either. "Don't make fun of Nanyan. She is Liang Tingshan's wife, and the mother of our future children." But I forgot, he is Zhang Zhuolin. Not my Liang Tingshan. He said nothing, even when others laughed at him disdainfully. So what if Nanyan knew the truth? Being the lover of our master Zheng is a blessing that this orphan girl has earned in 8 lifetimes. Liang Tingshan casually dusted off the cigarette ash and remained silent. He didn't say anything, but the verdict has turned into a sharp blade that has pierced my chest, causing burning pain in every part of my body. A gust of wind blew through the room. I could no longer hold on to my shaky body and fell backwards. Kelly Kui quickly supported me. "You can actually push the door open." I thanked her and steadied myself against the wall. Looking at the box where laughter came from, I gave a pale smile. "Push the door open. Then what? Have a fight with him?" I've thought about that, too, but I don't have the courage or the confidence. To someone with a background like Liang Tingshan, the grievances I suffered were just something to talk about after dinner and a joke, but they were not grievances. Kelly Kui asked someone to take me away. Before getting on the bus, she handed over a gold-stamped business card. Printed on it was a line of words from the director of the Department of Gynecology at Hong Kong Sanatorium and Hospital. Kelly Kui's smile was gentle, but her tone was condescending. "Miss Nan is a smart person. She should understand what I mean." The business card in my hand seemed to weigh thousands of pounds, suffocating me, but I can't resist. Just like before, I didn't dare to push open the door. I swallowed the bitterness in my heart and said hoarsely, "I understand, and thank you, Ms. Guo." "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for waking me up from my dream. Thank you for letting me see the so-called true love. It's nothing but a playboy's game of pleasure." Home Tin Estate, located on the south side of Xiang Fu Street, is the home of Liang Tingshan and me. It is close to Kwonghua Hospital. Nearby is the No. 34 primary school network, and the secondary school is affiliated to the Kowloon City District. The transportation is convenient. It is simply the dream house of the working class. When notified to move in, we used the vouchers we had saved for Chinese New Year and went out for a hot pot meal to celebrate. At that time, Liang Tingshan and I discussed how to maximize the space, and even planned to live here for the rest of our lives. But now thinking back, I just find it absurd and funny. How could the heir to the century-old Zheng family, a child of destiny born with a silver spoon in his mouth, have to spend his whole life squeezed in a cramped public housing with me? The emotions that had been suppressed all the way finally burst out. I leaned on the sofa, tears falling uncontrollably. The door opened from the outside and Liang Tingshan walked in. Holding my favorite fried beef noodles in his hand, I watched him approach in silence. He was about to hug me as usual, but he noticed my red and swollen eyes. "Why are you crying?" Did Yuan bother you again? Yuan is the nickname Liang Tingshan and I gave to our child. She is our first baby. Suddenly looking into Liang Tingshan's eyes full of affection, I couldn't help but think of the first time we met that year. In the winter 6 years ago, I met Liang Tingshan. I was 19 that year and came to Hong Kong from Beijing as an exchange student. Because I came from a small town, even though I had passed the CET4 and CET6 with high scores, my spoken accent was always authentic Chinese. Because of this, I caused a lot of jokes. The worst time was when the huge classroom was filled with laughter, and the boy closest to me laughed the most wildly. The teacher in class suppressed this farce, but still asked me to talk after class. In his words, he told me to practice my English pronunciation. I was young and had a strong sense of self-esteem at that time, and I would cry over the smallest things. That unbridled laughter rang in my ears again. What are you laughing at? If you keep laughing, you can teach her a lesson. Because of what the teacher said, I was assigned to Liang Tingshan, who was 3 years older than me. Later we talked about our first meeting. Liang Tingshan said that he had lived for more than 20 years and had never seen a faucet that had become a spirit. I glared at him angrily. He smiled slowly. Junior sister, hurry up and learn, or else the faucet will become a spirit again. During that half year of exchange, apart from my part-time job, I also worked for Liang Tingshan. When he called me junior, he always dragged out the last syllable. When he spoke English, it sounded like playing a cello, deep and beautiful. There was always an indescribable aura about him that fascinated me. On the day of leaving Hong Kong, Liang Tingshan asked me, Nanyin, do you want to come to Hong Kong after graduation? This is not my home. I mustered up the courage to look him in the eye. The sea breeze messed up the hair on his forehead. He looked at me with affectionate eyes and spoke in a low, pleasant voice. Isn't this me? Because of this sentence, I went south to Hong Kong alone. After years of wandering, I thought I was a lonely bird that had found a habitat, but little did I know that I had always been a bird in a cage used for entertainment by Master Zheng. I tried my best to resist the urge to cry and held Liang Tingshan's hand and placed it on my stomach. Liang Tingshan, touch Yuan. Touch our Yuan again. After tomorrow, Yuan will be gone, and I will have to say goodbye to you. I don't know if Yuan felt the same way. But he gently kicked Liang Tingshan. He was obviously stunned, and then he was so surprised that he stammered, Yin, Yuan moved. Liang Tingshan, I suddenly can't see through you anymore. Are you the heir of the Zheng family who was born at the peak and treated me as a toy for entertainment? Or is it you who is kneeling carefully in front of me, like all husbands who are looking forward to the birth of a new life? Liang Tingshan, I called him and tears couldn't stop falling. Liang Tingshan was busy wiping my tears and coaxing me. Why are you crying again? Did I do something wrong and make you angry? I caressed this deep face that I have loved for 6 years. Liang Tingshan, your name is fake and your marriage certificate is also fake. How true and how false is the anxiety and affection in the eyes at this moment. The next day, I called the number on the business card and made an appointment. The moment she lay on the operating table, her bulging belly trembled slightly. I felt Yuan's presence again. It was at that moment that I hesitated. Both my parents are dead, and I was raised by my grandmother who passed away early. Yuan is my only blood relative in this world. How could I kill her existence? So I escaped at the last minute, sitting on a bench on the street. I had a lot of random thoughts. Liang Tingshan and I had a showdown. It doesn't matter if the Zheng family doesn't accept me or my Yuan. I don't want Liang Tingshan. I don't want anything. I just want my Yuan. I can take her back to Yuanjiang and never come to Hong Kong again. After thinking everything through, I sent a message to Liang Tingshan. Are you busy now? At the same moment, a Bentley with a license plate with a 3-place leopard number stopped by the roadside. I saw Liang Tingshan and Kelly Kwok get out of the car one after the other. His phone rang with a WeChat notification. He only took a glance and a smile spread across his face. Then, the phone lit up with a message from Liang Tingshan. We are talking about business. Otherwise, how can we support our 2 children? Just one short sentence made my nose sour. I watched from afar as he and Kelly Kui entered a jewelry store. Kelly Kui took the bracelet from the SA and asked him with a smile, Zhuolin, Which one looks good? At that moment, I wanted to rush in, slap Liang Tingshan in the face, and then ask him why he lied to me, but I don't have the confidence or the courage. I could only be like a clown who couldn't stand the light, quietly sending a message to Liang Tingshan. When will you come back? I miss you. Behind the glass window, Liang Tingshan put a bracelet on Kelly Kui and said with a smile, "This one suits you better." Kelly Gua blushed slightly and hummed softly. I didn't want to look any further and quickly turned around to leave, but the phone happened to light up at this moment. "Miss me so much? Then I will come back to accompany you immediately." The mist gradually blurred my vision, my tears hit the screen heavily, my heart felt like it was being gripped by an invisible hand, and severe pain spread. I don't understand how Liang Tingshan manages to please both women. Think about it again, if he could wear a mask and deceive me for 6 years. What couldn't he do? Such people cannot be sincere. I wiped the mist off the screen and typed with trembling fingertips. Yu Guangli and Liang Tingshan were about to leave the jewelry store. I didn't even have time to send the message before I turned around and ran. I was afraid that Liang Tingshan would notice how embarrassed I was at the moment, and afraid to see the sarcasm in his eyes. Liang Tingshan and the other man were getting closer and closer. I became a little anxious and took 2 steps forward. The next second, a harsh tire noise rang in my ears. I subconsciously protected my stomach, and my body was hit by the oncoming van and flew into the air. My phone fell to the ground and the screen shattered into pieces. Screams were heard all around me, and I was thrown heavily to the ground. The severe pain spread from my chest to my limbs and made my eyes go black. I ignored the pain and touched my stomach first. Yuan will be okay, right? Someone was in a car accident. She's still a pregnant woman. Liang Tingshan originally wanted to get in the car with Kelly Kui and leave, but when he heard these 2 words, he immediately turned his head to look. He saw me lying in the middle of the road, not knowing whether I was dead or alive. His pupils widened and he almost ran towards me. "Shuilin, it's just a car accident, just go over there." Kelly Gua tried to stop her, but Liang Tingshan knocked her hand away. "Don't stop me." She could only stand there unwillingly. In my hazy state, I saw Liang Tingshan pushing through the crowd, stumbling towards me, then picking me up with trembling arms. From the first meeting, Liang Tingshan seemed to be at ease. This was the first time I saw him lose control of his emotions. His eyes were red, as if he was afraid of losing me. Even his voice was faintly crying. "Yin, don't be afraid, I'll take you to the hospital. Don't be afraid." The heavy rain came suddenly. Liang Tingshan held my hand and hugged me, rushing towards the car. The rain slid down his sharp chin, bringing with it a salty and bitter taste. "Is he crying, Liang Tingshan? Will you feel sad for me too?" "Nanyan, don't sleep." After taking 2 steps forward, the sound of a car horn became sharp and prolonged. Liang Tingshan stumbled and fell to his knees with a bang. He hugged me tightly and begged passers-by with red eyes, "Please call 120, please." No one paid any attention to him. "Everyone is watching the fun." Liang Tingshan hugged me tightly and murmured, "Save my wife, save them." I wanted to wipe the rain off his face. I want to tell him, "Liang Tingshan, just lie to me. Don't be serious with me. If you are sincere to me, I don't know how to hate you." But I was in so much pain that I couldn't even lift my hand. When the doctor asked him to sign the consent form for induced abortion, I didn't know where I got the strength from. But I tried to snatch it from Liang Tingshan's hands. "Liang Tingshan, please don't sign. I don't want anything. I don't want Yuan either. Please don't sign, please." I held his hand tightly, crying and begging. "Liang Tingshan, Yuan is your child too. Don't sign, please." I kept repeating this sentence. Liang Tingshan forcefully pried open my knuckles. A trace of pain flashed across his eyes. And he coaxed me in a hoarse voice, "Nanyan, be obedient. We can't have this child." He signed the 3 words Liang Tingshan neatly. "Liang Tingshan." I almost screamed out with my lungs broken, tears streaming down my face. "I hate you. I hate you." Liang Tingshan stopped looking at me, turned his back, and his shoulders trembled slightly. His deep voice came, "Send her to surgery." I cried and made a fuss, trying to break free and escape from the operating table. But the moment the anesthetic entered my body, I was like a fish on the chopping board, unable to struggle any longer. I could only feel the pain of contractions. In a trance, I thought my Yuan came into this world, but in fact, it was my farewell to her. My Yuan is probably a very beautiful little girl. I can't see his features clearly, but he should look very much like Liang Tingshan. But she was just thrown into the trash can. Her mother, that is, me, couldn't even take a last look at her. The moment of falling into darkness, I understand completely. Liang Tingshan doesn't want me in Yuan, because he never loved me. Then I don't want to love him anymore. I felt like I had a big dream. In the dream, there was a little girl with bright eyes and white teeth, holding the corner of my clothes and crying. I asked her what was wrong. She sobbed and said, "Mom doesn't want me anymore. Mom doesn't want me anymore." I wanted to comfort her and say that there is no mother in this world who would not want her own child. As soon as she raised her head, I suddenly froze in place. Those eyebrows and eyes were exactly the same as Liang Tingshan's. "It's my Yuan." I whispered her name and hugged her with trembling hands. Yuan pushed me away and ran into the invisible fog. I ran after her, calling her over and over again, Yuan, but she ran so fast, I can't catch up. He missed the last step and suddenly opened his eyes wide. "Yin, are you awake?" I just woke up and hesitated for a moment, until I met Liang Tingshan's red eyes. I immediately pushed him away. "Where's Yuan? The child. I looked at my lower abdomen. The slightly bulging belly has deflated. It turns out that was not a dream. My Yuan is gone. I just sat on the bed, tears silently rolling down my eyes. Liang Tingshan came to wipe my tears and comforted me. "Yin. The doctor said that if we didn't induce labor at that time, both you and the baby would be in danger. It doesn't matter if we don't have children. We are still young and we will have children in the future. No more, Liang Tingshan, we won't have children, and we won't have a future." I dodged Liang Tingshan's hand that was wiping my tears. He was stunned and met my sarcastic and smiling eyes. "You said we would have children." I saw a trace of helplessness and confusion in Liang Tingshan's eyes. "So, do you think our child should have the surname Liang or Zheng, as I wished?" I saw the surprise on Liang Tingshan's face, but I didn't feel a bit of joy, only endless sadness. If Yuan was forced to have it removed, I would hate Liang Tingshan to death, but the truth is so cruel that I want to hate, but I can't. "Liang Tingshan, why are you always like this? You are heartless and you are also affectionate. What should I do?" The atmosphere in the ward was depressing, after a long time. Liang Tingshan used the tip of his thumb to wipe away the tears on my cheek. He looked calm, without any guilt at all that I had exposed his deception. "Nanyan, the name Liang Tingshan is real. My grandfather's surname is Liang, and my mother's surname is Wen. When I went to the mainland in my early years, my grandfather gave me this name. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now that you know, you should understand that even if this child is born, it will only be an illegitimate child. This is the real Liang Tingshan. Act arbitrarily and weigh the pros and cons." When the effect of the anesthetic wore off, I felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. I hunched my back, pressed my abdomen, and questioned him with a pale face. "Liang Tingshan, oh no, Mr. Zheng, if you can't give me a future, why do you come to provoke me? Why?" The words that had been stuck in my throat for so long finally broke free. I almost yelled, "Why did you lie to me?" "Just for fun." But he lied to me for 6 years, 6 whole years. Liang Tingshan noticed my movements, pushed my hands away, and gently rubbed my belly. His movements were gentle and his palms were warm, making me want more. The next second, the words I spoke brought me back to reality. "Nanyan, if I hadn't lied to you, there wouldn't have been these 6 years between us. If we go back to the beginning, he knew me as Zheng Zhuolin. The story between us ended at most with a quick passing by each other that afternoon." I clenched my lips, not wanting to show any weakness in front of Liang Tingshan. "So now, shall we break up? Yuan is gone, and he wants to marry someone else. A decent breakup is what we should have now." Liang Tingshan paused, then he looked into my eyes and said, "No, I've already made it clear with Kelly Kui that our marriage is just a formality. We both get what we want. To you, I'm still just Lung Tingshan." "Okay, Liang Tingshan," I screamed in disbelief. Liang Tingshan stroked my face and asked, "Yin, is this bad? I don't want to be your..." I can't say those two words. My body was too weak after the induced abortion. I was so emotionally shaken that I felt dizzy and passed out. I also missed Liang Tingshan hugging me tightly, murmuring helplessly, "Yin, forgive me, this is the best ending I can get." I didn't want to see Liang Tingshan. But he came to accompany me every day. That day, when I passed by the nursery, I stared blankly inside. Those children were so cute that I started to cry as I looked at them. If my Yuan was born safely, would he be as cute as this? I couldn't bear to watch it, so I turned around and left. Before entering the ward, I saw a well-maintained lady standing opposite Liang Tingshan, who remained silent. I have seen that lady on the news. She is Liang Tingshan's mother, Ms. Wen Lin. The mistress of the Zheng family, Ms. Wen is an old Beijinger and speaks with an authentic Beijing accent. Tingshan, the car that hit Miss Nan was arranged by Guo Huilin, and you made a scene because of it. In order to protect their daughter, the Guo family agreed that you can keep Miss Nan by your side now. But what about the future? How long can you protect her? Liang Ting was silent for a long time before he spoke in a hoarse voice. Mom, as long as I can speak, I can protect her. I'm not that person. I won't let her become another you. In Liang Tingshan's memory, his parents never loved each other. When he grew up, he found out that his mother, Ms. Wen, was just middle class. Before marrying into the Zheng family, she had fallen in love with a rich young man from Beijing and spent 8 years of her youth on him. In the end, the rich young man married a daughter of equal status. Introduced Zheng's father to her, gave enough benefits to the Zheng family, and won a bright future for Ms. Wen. Ms. Wen is an experienced person, so she can sympathize with Nanyin, but she understood her son's stubborn temper, so she just patiently advised him. Miss Nan has already sacrificed 6 years of her youth and given you a child. What else do you want her to give for being with you? Tingshan, don't be too selfish. Liang Ting clenched his teeth tightly. As if he was suppressing some overwhelming emotions, it felt like a century had passed. I vaguely heard Liang Tingshan say, if I wasn't selfish, I wouldn't be able to keep her. But Liang Tingshan, what's the point of keeping me here? Do you want me to be your lover? Or give up everything you have and marry me as Liang Tingshan? Ms. Wen was about to leave, and Liang Tingshan saw her off. I stumbled and hid in a corner, my nails digging into my palms to stop myself from crying out loud. After crying enough, I looked at the message from my boss on my phone. There are only a few places available for further studies at the Berlin headquarters throughout the year. Are you really not going to go? I looked up. Liang Tingshan had turned around and went back. He did not go into the ward, but smoked in the emergency passage. The fireworks flickered, covering his dark eyebrows and eyes. Tears fell on the screen, and I typed back, "Oh my God. How about the time being at midnight on the 25th of next month? On the 25th of next month, Lung Tingshan and Kelly Kui will get engaged. It's my birthday too." That's it. Liang Tingshan, we made a mistake from the beginning. You shouldn't keep making mistakes. After being discharged from the hospital, I was still very weak, so Liang Tingshan simply took me to move into a villa in Mount Kelet. He arranged a 24-hour medical team and a group of Filipino maids to take care of me. Liang Tingshan has been very busy recently, but he comes to see me every day and asks the doctor about my recovery. I know what he is busy with, but I didn't ask any further questions. I just silently counted the days left before leaving. On the morning of the 24th, Liang Tingshan came to see me as usual and had lunch with me. At the dinner table, I said to him, "Lung Tingshan, I want to go back to Homan Tin Estate." This was the first time I took the initiative to talk to him after Yuan left. Liang Tingshan was very surprised and immediately drove me back. We chatted all the way and rarely had an argument. I haven't been home for so long that a thin layer of dust has accumulated on the furniture at home. Liang Tingshan frowned when he saw me, and said to me, "Next time you want to come over, I'll ask the cleaning staff to come and clean it, and you can come over later. We'll talk about it next time." I dug out a cookie box from the drawer under the bed. And inside it was a stack of time deposit certificates. The amount is not large, it's all my savings over the years. I placed them one by one in front of Liang Tingshan. "This is the down payment I saved for us. This is the education fund I saved for Yuan the day I got pregnant with her." Liang Tingshan was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes slowly turned red, as the heir to a century-old wealthy family. Master Zheng probably never thought that the romantic game he played on a whim would actually deceive the heart of a silly girl. He never thought that I really wanted to spend my whole life with him. Liang Ting's Adam's apple rolled up and down for a long time before he said, "Yin, except marriage, I can give you everything. So, can we start over again?" I didn't answer him. Instead, she stroked his face, tracing his features with her fingertips, as if she wanted to carve his features into her soul. "Do you think I'm stupid?" I spoke in a casual manner. Liang Tingshan thought I had resolved my problem, and pinched my nose and laughed at me as usual. "What's wrong with you?" He seemed afraid that I would overthink it, so he began to analyze the pros and cons for me. "Yin, I know you're still blaming me for lying to you for 6 years, but in these 6 years, the love I've given you is no less than yours. Yin, please forgive me. I can't give up my family and my parents' expectations of me, but I can't bear to let you go either. Yin, I love you very much. Even without that certificate, we will be each other's only ones for the rest of our lives. I will use everything I have to make up for what I owe you." Liang Tingshan, even now, you are still so rational. But why do you think that a word of compensation can make up for my 6 years of sincere love and can bring back Yuanyuan's life? What's more, your so-called future is exchanged for the lives of my closest flesh and blood. How can I accept it with peace of mind? In the end, I still said nothing. I have selfish motives. I want to put a perfect end to this 6-year relationship. I don't want to ruin the beauty of this moment. Liang Ting and I snuggled together, staring out the window in silence. It was late at night, and there seemed to be a light show at the CEC Bell Tower Cultural Center tonight. The colorful lights were reflected on the sea, vaguely reflecting the outline of Lion Rock in the distance. Liang Tingshan's phone rang. It was Kelly Kui calling. He walked aside to answer the phone, and when he came back he asked me, "It's your birthday soon. What gift do you want?" Liang Tingshan, "I want the fireworks in Victoria Harbour tonight to be set off just for me. The year we first got together." Liang Tingshan and I went to Hennessy Road and saw people setting off fireworks in Victoria Harbour. I looked longingly and said, "Wait for my birthday someday. Can you also celebrate by setting off fireworks in Victoria Harbour?" After I said it, I found it funny. Who are we? We can't set off fireworks over Victoria Harbour. But at that time Liang Tingshan smiled and tapped my forehead. "Is this your wish?" "That's my wish." I nodded heavily. Liang Tingshan probably thought of this. He put his forehead against mine and whispered, "Okay." The phone rang again. It was like the bell before midnight, reminding Cinderella that the time had come. Liang Tingshan was about to leave, and I opened my arms to him. "Liang Tingshan, give me a hug. One last hug. After tomorrow, we will never be able to hug each other again." Liang Tingshan hugged me tightly, as if he wanted to rub me into his bones. After a while, he let me go and kissed me on the center of my forehead. "Yin, go home and wait for me." "But, Liang Tingshan, the place you are in a hurry to leave is my home in Hong Kong." I walked Liang Tingshan to the door. Like every morning in the years since we got married, I watched him go to work. But only I know, Liang Tingshan and I can only go this far in this life. A boarding reminder popped up on my phone, and I came to my senses and started packing my luggage. It has been 6 years since I discovered Hong Kong, and the things I can take away are very few. And I can only pack half a box, but I have too much left here. My 6 years of youth, my first child, my wholehearted love. Looking at any object in the room, you can see memories of past love and hate. We bought that red and brown leather sofa at Second Chance. At that time, they had no money after the renovation was completed, so they shared a plate of dry fried beef noodles and a dozen beers, got a little tipsy, and then hugged and kissed each other, the moment the dim light came on. Our eyes were filled with drowning affection. It seems that every moment makes me fantasize that we can grow old together, but the dream must end, and I should look forward, so I closed the door, blocked all contact information for Liang Tingshan, and left him completely in the past. The wing of the plane cut through the clouds, leaving a trail behind. The 6 years I wasted end at this moment. At this moment, the little girl sitting next to me shouted, "Wow! Someone is setting off fireworks over Victoria Harbour." The clock struck midnight. I turned my head sharply and looked. Looking down from the sky, huge fireworks bloomed in the night sky, and then fell like meteors with tails, lighting up the high-rise buildings on both sides of the river. How much money and how many permits are needed to set off a fireworks display in Victoria Harbour in a short period of time is something I don't know. But because of that sentence, Lungtingchen. I want the fireworks on Victoria Harbour tonight to be set off only for me. At midnight on the 25th, fireworks over Victoria Harbour will be set off on time, just to wish me a happy birthday. In an instant, a myriad of emotions surged in my heart. It's a mixture of love and hate, disbelief, but more of regret. Unfortunately, it's too late. It's a pity that this is how my life is. It's a pity that our 6 years are just like this untimely firework, grand and brilliant, but destined to fall. I took out my cell phone and captured the last bit of splendor in the sky. News pops up on the screen. HSBC and Wing Tai join forces. The Zhang and Guo families write a new story in the business world. The last burst of fireworks fell. I finally understand why I hate Lungtingchen. I hate that he doesn't love me as much as I love him. I hate that I am someone he can abandon at any time after weighing the pros and cons, and I hate that loving me means nothing in his world. But after this fireworks display, I think I will be able to completely let it go one day in the future, neither love him nor hate him, because in Lungtingchen's long and remarkable life, although my existence was short, I was the most important one. He will never forget me in his life. The marriage between the Zheng and Guo families attracted much attention. The engagement party was held in a hotel owned by HSBC. Not only local people from Hong Kong attended, but also prominent people from home and abroad. There were still 2 hours before the engagement party, and Lungtingchen felt an inexplicable panic in his heart. This feeling has been following him since he left Ho Man Tin Estate last night. As time goes by, it becomes thicker and thicker. Ms. Wen saw through Lungtingchen's absent-mindedness at a glance, and called him aside on the pretext of something, and gently reminded him, "Tingchen, I know you miss Miss Nan, but in today's situation, you'd better think twice. Wait until the banquet is over and all the guests have left before you go look for her. I'll be with the Guo family and your father." Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by an urgent ring. Lungtingchen answered the call immediately, and the maid asked anxiously, "Mr. Zheng, Miss Nan didn't come back yesterday. Is she with you?" He immediately called Nanyan, but her phone was turned off. He sent a message and found that he had been blocked. At this moment, the panic in his heart was like a poisonous snake spitting out its venom, completely entangling Lungtingchen and making him feel a little breathless. Lungtingchen untied his tie in annoyance, breathing heavily and his Adam's apple rolling. All the reactions were clamoring for him to get out of control. It was the first time that when Lin saw Lungtingchen lose his composure like this, she frowned and asked, "Did something happen to Miss Nan, Mom?" Lungtingchen raised his eyes. Bloodshot eyes crept up to the corners of his eyes. "Nanyan is gone." He remembered the hug, thinking back to yesterday. She didn't quarrel with him, but instead talked about the past. He thought they could start over, but he didn't expect it to be the warmth before farewell. "I have to go find her." Lungtingchen turned around and was about to leave. Before he left the hotel, he was stopped by Zheng's father, who took Lungtingchen to a temporary lounge and asked Ms. When to persuade him. "Tingchen, if you want to go, I will ask the master to say that today is not a good day to get married and choose another auspicious time. But after today, you will have to bear all the consequences yourself." Hong Kong people believe in gods and Buddhas. This excuse is lame, but it is the only way today. "I have to go, Mom, I have to go." He covered his face and repeated in a hoarse voice, "If I don't go, we're really finished." When Lin looked at her son in front of her and felt dazed for a moment, as if she had returned to many years ago when that man had held her hand like this. When, if you leave, we're really finished. The past cannot be retrieved." Ms. Wen raised her head to hold back her tears, and her tone was amazingly calm. "Zheng Zhuolin, if you really loved Miss Nan, you would have paved the way for her the moment you decided to be with her. Instead of using the fake name Lungtingchen to deceive her for 6 years, now that you have come to this point, you can't let go of your fame and fortune. and you are unwilling to let go, Zheng Zhuolin, you will regret it sooner or later. Liang Tingshan clenched his fists, patted MS, went on the shoulder, and walked past her. If I don't get her back, I will regret it. Liang Tingshan walked very fast. Behind him, MS, when pressed her brows tiredly. After all, children are debts. After leaving the hotel, Liang Tingshan received a call from his assistant saying that Nanyin had left Hong Kong for Berlin last night. He turned the car around and rushed to the airport like crazy, but halfway through the journey, it collided head-on with a truck. The front of the car was dented, the windshield exploded, and the fragments pierced into Liang Ting's deep eyebrows. Severe pain spread all over his body, his head made a buzzing sound, and the smell of blood filled his nostrils. There was a momentary blank in his consciousness, and he suddenly thought, Nanyin must have felt the same pain that day. No, she should be in more pain. Losing Yuanyuan must be very painful. But what if it hurts? He can't make up for Nanyin, and Nanyin will never come back. This was a 6-year-long scam, and it was hard to tell when he started to fall in love. Looking back now, I suddenly realized that it was never that Nanyin could not live without him. He can't live without Nanyin. On the second night after arriving in Berlin, I saw the news on my mobile phone that Liang Tingshan was in a coma after a car accident. At the same time, I received a friend request from MS. When on WeChat, after adding it, she told me, Miss Nan, Zhuolin is now in the ICU. He is no longer in danger of death, but he is still unconscious. As a mother, I think I should tell you this news. Berlin is located in East Germany, where the temperature is low all year round. Even in late spring, the temperature at night is close to below zero. The cold wind blew on my face, and I shivered with cold, while my heart was also filled with intense pain. Is it a surprise? Unexpected. In my memory, Liang Tingshan is not an emotional person, but he was such a person that after learning that I was leaving, he rushed to the airport without hesitation to break off the engagement. MS, when sent another photo. The photo was taken outside the ICU. Through the narrow door and window, one could see Liang Tingshan lying on the hospital bed, his body plugged with instruments and his face pale. Only the occasional beeping of the heartbeat monitor showed that he still had signs of life. MS. When, I don't want you to return to China because of this. This is for your own good and for Zhuolin's. Tears hit the screen, and I bit my lips until they turned pale. Only then did I restrain myself from buying the ticket. I typed while crying, I know, thank you aunt for telling me this. MS, when did not reply to my message again. For more than a month after that day, I relied on drugs to fall asleep almost every day, but I would wake up after not sleeping for long and then keep my eyes open until dawn. During that time, I dreamed of Yuanyuan every day. I tried my best not to pay attention to any news about Lung Tingsham, but I would always dream about those years in Ho Man Tin Estate at night, when it was at its worst. When I was walking on Body Tree Street and saw a figure that looked like Liang Tingshan, I couldn't help but chase after him. It was not until I saw his face that I realized this was Berlin, not Hong Kong. There will be no Liang Tingshan here. When I realized this, I stood on the streets of a foreign country, watching the pedestrians hurrying by, and tears fell silently. As the days passed, I gradually reduced the dosage of the medicine. Only occasionally, I would think of those 6 years and imagine how nice it would be if he was not Zheng Zhuolin but Liang Tingshan. After completing my further studies, I stayed in Berlin temporarily due to company arrangements. In August, the landlord wanted to take back the apartment, so I took a leave of absence and asked an agent to find an apartment for me. On the same day, I received a courier. Inside was the property certificate for a duplex apartment near Imperial Square, as well as the key to a popular local vehicle. No need to guess who the sender is. When I got the stuff, I also received a message from an unknown number. Please accept it. I am always sorry for you. I didn't want the house and the car, so I sent them all back. At the end of the month, I moved into the apartment found by the agent. It wasn't big, only about 10 square meters. Just right for me to live alone. On Christmas Eve, the atmosphere on the streets of Berlin was joyous. Fireworks burst into the sky, and I suddenly realized that Liang Tingshan and I had been separated for almost a year. As time goes by, I will let go and feel completely relieved. But after a 6-year relationship and the love of a child, I finally have the courage to make a final move. I still need many, many years. During the trial, the van driver testified that Kelly Guo hired someone to commit murder. The evidence was complete and Kelly Guo was bound to go to jail. As the person involved, I needed to return to Hong Kong and never thought about meeting Lung Tingsum again. On the day of the second trial, I met Liang Tingshan outside the court. I haven't seen him for almost 2 years. Liang Tingshan looks much thinner and has a scar at the end of his eyebrow from the car accident. He looks even more powerful. It is very different from the Liang Tingshan in my memory. We greeted each other with a smile like old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. Liang Tingshan asked me, "Are you going back to Hong Kong this time? Do you plan to stay in Berlin for a long time in the future?" "I think I'll go to Shanghai." In recent years, new energy vehicles have emerged. My company has technology in this area. And at the beginning of the year the board of directors decided to open a branch in Shanghai and would send me and several colleagues to take the lead. Their eyes met, and there seemed to be nothing more to say, but Liang Tingshan's eyes were too straightforward, and they burned a crack in the wall of my heart that I had built with great difficulty. 2 years is too short for me to let go completely. I avoided his eyes and asked, "How are you feeling lately?" "Fine," he smiled. Took another step forward, his eyes more aggressive. "Nanyan, you can go to Shanghai. Even though I may be a little constrained there, I can still protect you." Zhang Zhuolin, "We are done." A strange name, a distant tone, it completely distances us. Liang Tingshan didn't say anything. But when he sent me to the airport, he told me, "Yinyan, I will not get married, and there will only be you in my life from now on." What he has achieved is already the best, but I couldn't get over that hurdle. "As long as you come back, I will do whatever you want. Then I want my Yuan to be alive, and I want my daughter to live safely by my side. Can you do that?" Liang Tingshan's eyebrows were stained with a trace of sadness, and his eyes slowly turned red. He said sorry and said he couldn't do it. "Yes. Even if you are as omnipotent as me, you cannot bring the dead back to life. Then how can we start over?" The first year I arrived in Berlin, apart from working, I was seeing a psychiatrist and taking medicine. Whenever I closed my eyes, all I could think about was Yuan being thrown into the trash can. I said while crying, "Liang Tingshan, it's impossible for us." Liang Tingshan held my face and helped me wipe away my tears. "Yinyan, I'll wait for the day when you're willing to come back. He has been a blessed child with smooth sailing since birth. Perhaps all the hardships he has endured in his life have been experienced by me alone." I sighed helplessly. "Why bother?" He said nothing, just gently put his arms around me and patted my back. The tears that I had managed to hold back began to fall again. "It would be great if you were just Liang Tingshan. But he is not, he is Zhang Zhuolin, so we are destined not to have a happy ending." After the Spring Festival, I flew from Berlin to Shanghai. In the past 6 months, I have had very little contact with Liang Tingshan. Except for the Happy New Year at midnight on the first day of the new year, nothing else. The moment the enclave landed in Shanghai, I received an anonymous email when I was in Berlin, which contained a large duplex flat in Lujiazhu. I still didn't want it, and rented an apartment with a friend near the company. After the express delivery was sent back to Liang Tingshan, he called me, and the sound of a lighter rubbing against the receiver came through. He said, "Yinyan, don't be stubborn. You have to give me a chance to make it up to you. I don't want it." During those 6 years I was with him, I asked for nothing. After we broke up, there was no reason to take his things anymore. At the end of the phone call, Liang Tingshan seemed to be so angry that he laughed. "It's been 3 years. And Kelly Kui has also been imprisoned. What will it take for you to calm down?" I didn't say anything, just stared at the fireworks on TV. After a long while, he finally spoke. "Liang Tingshan, please spend one more birthday with me. After this birthday, maybe I'll forgive you." During the years we were together, no matter how poor and hard our lives were, Liang Tingshan would always prepare surprises for me on my birthday every year. There is a lot to do when starting a branch. On the eve of my birthday, I would have almost forgotten about it if Liang Tingshan hadn't called me. The next day, I went to Hong Kong and returned to Ho Man Tin Estate with Liang Tingshan. When I pushed the door open and went in, I found that nothing had changed inside. But there were a lot of new children's supplies, such as a piggy doll on the sofa and a baby chair next to the reception desk. If Yuan is born safely, it will be just right for use. I suppressed the urge to cry, knowing that Liang Tingshan was clumsily trying to make it up to me. But it's too late. Liang Tingshan and I went to Parkin Shop to shop as we did before. He pushed the shopping cart and I followed beside him, putting the things we had picked into the basket. Unlike before, we no longer need to compare prices when shopping. Liang Tingshan prepared dinner, and it was all my favorite dishes. We sat opposite each other, drinking the beer we bought and chatting about the past. He lit the candle and asked me to blow it out and make a wish. The lights in the room dimmed, the candlelight flickered, reflecting each other's eyes. I'll give you my birthday wish this year. Liang Tingshan was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, then I promised you that you would come back. Can you make it happen? The answer is obvious, but he still made a wish to the candle. My eyes are a little sore. Hong Kong people love to believe in gods and Buddhas, but Liang Tingshan doesn't believe in these. But since when did you entrust your unspeakable desires to the gods in the sky? I have one more wish. I hope you are safe. The clock struck 12 and my check-in reminder popped up. I said to Liang Tingshan, I should go now. I send you. We walked out of the 14 square meter public rental housing side by side. The moment the door closed completely, I looked back. From now on, I probably won't come back. Liang Tingshan and I parted in the waiting room. He said to me, Yin, I really want to start over with you. Then can you just be Liang Tingshan? I asked with a chuckle. Liang Ting was speechless. You see, you said you loved me, but when it came to the relative topic of love and bread, you chose to remain silent. We looked at each other quietly for a long time, and I shed tears for him for the last time in my life. Even if you just do Liang Tingshan, it's impossible for us. There is so much between us. Deception. Yuan's life. The 6 years I wasted. Even if a broken mirror is repaired, there will still be cracks. Liang Tingshan, I don't hate you anymore. I just don't hate you anymore. A reminder sounded on the radio urging people to board the plane. I turned around to leave, and Liang Tingshan called me. Yin. I looked back at him again. Just like that afternoon, he was sitting in the classroom, the sun was shining in, and I walked into those smiling, affectionate eyes. He opened his arms towards me, and a smile slowly spread. Hold me again. I dropped my suitcase and ran towards him with all my might, just like I had done countless times before. Liang Tingshan just hugged me gently and said in a gentle voice, just accept the things I give you. It doesn't count as compensation. Just consider it as my last birthday gift to you. Good. You are not in good health. No matter how busy you are at work, you should make sure to rest. Good. When you look for a boyfriend in the future, don't look for a jerk like me. But don't look for a bad boyfriend either. He should have some money, so that he can at least protect you and give you a good life. Good. He touched my ear gently. It was so hot that I cried. I'm sorry Yin. I thought about lying to you for the rest of my life. Asshole. I scolded him with a smile, but then patted him on the back and said goodbye in a relaxed manner. Liang Tingshan, I'm leaving. Let's go. I didn't look back and strode forward, but the burning gaze behind me kept following me. Liang Tingshan just stood there, watching Nanyin's slender figure disappear after security check, then disappear in the crowd, and finally completely disappear from his world. A huge roar was heard. He looked up and saw the plane flying into the blue sky. At this moment, MS, when called, sent away. Yeah, he responded, Mom, it's all over. As the plane disappeared into the sky, his years of love and obsession came to an end at this moment. Liang Tingshan officially took over HSBC at the age of 33. In the winter of the same year, his grandfather passed away. He returned to Beijing to mourn and inherited the Liang family business. In the next few years, I traveled back and forth between Hong Kong and the mainland. Sometimes he would go to Shanghai, but Shanghai is so big that he went there more than a dozen times a year and never encountered Nanyin once. It was a rare winter when snow fell in Hong Kong. My childhood friends got together and there was a Chinese businessman who had just returned from Germany. He was of Chinese and German descent and his name was Meng Yue. He came out to discuss business and brought his 4-year-old daughter with him. The little girl had 2 ponytails with slightly curled hair and delicate facial features. She looked like a doll in a window and was very adorable. Some people teased Meng Yue that he always had to bring his precious daughter with him whenever he went out for social events. Before Meng Yue could speak, the little girl spoke clearly. Mommy is at work, and Daddy said not to disturb her, so I can only disturb Daddy and the uncles. Oh, so cute. What's your name? Yuan Yuan, the little girl answered crisply. Bang! The wine glass in Liang Tingshan's hand fell to the ground and broke into pieces. At that moment, Liang Tingshan glimpsed the shadow of Nanyin in the eyebrows of a 4-year-old girl. Meng Yue glanced at him, his upturned almond-shaped eyes showing obvious sarcasm. The next second, Meng Yue spoke up. Meng Nanyuan, my wife's surname is Nan, and her ancestral home is in Yuanjiang. It's not Yuan, it's Yuan as in Yuan River. Nanyin misses her hometown, not him. Because Yuan Yuan was there that night, there was constant laughter at the dinner table. Liang Tingshan watched from the side and couldn't help but think of the unborn Yuan Yuan. If Yuan Yuan was born safely that year, she would have been very beautiful, inheriting all the good qualities of him and Nanyin. Her eyes would have been like her mother's, very bright, like the stars in the night sky. He will give her everything most precious in the world and let the world grow at her feet. After the dinner, Liang Tingshan walked at the end of the crowd. He looked up inadvertently and saw Nanyin standing in the snow with an umbrella, camel coat, white scarf, short hair. She looks neat and capable. But her eyes are gentle and peaceful, which shows that she has been well taken care of over the years. It's not like the years I was with him, when I suffered so much injustice. These years, Liang Tingshan never inquired about Nanin's news. He only vaguely knew that her career was flourishing, but he didn't know that she was married. He was unwilling to admit that Nanyin would be better off without him. But the reality is that Nanyin would be better off without him. Mother. Yuan Yuan let go of Meng Yue and ran towards Nanyin. Nanyin hugged her daughter with a smile and waved to Meng Yue. Meng Yue, let's go home. That smile was just like the girl who wore a ponytail and smiled with curved eyes and called him Liang Tingshan many years ago. Meng Yue said goodbye to everyone politely. Liang Tingshan just watched. He said nothing. Your hands are so cold. Why didn't you wait for me in the car? Nanyin blinked. I haven't seen Mr. Meng for a long time. I miss you a little. Then go home. Good. From beginning to end, Nanyin did not notice his existence. Or maybe she saw him and just treated him as a stranger. The family of 3 got in the car and drove away. Snowflakes entered their eyes. Liang Tingshan suddenly remembered that Nanyin had not been to Hong Kong in these years. Now that she has stepped on this land that has brought her countless scars, she is letting go of the past, and put him down too. A friend who was close to Liang Tingshan recognized Nanyin and said to him, Mr. Meng made a big fuss to marry Nanyin. My ex-girlfriend is Mr. Meng's distant cousin. Tell me, at that time, he told Nanyin, as long as you are willing to come to me, I can create any identity for you. All you need to do is take a firm step towards me, and leave everything else to me. Liang Tingshan found these words extremely ironic. You see, there are many people who help her get off the stage, but you, Zheng Zhuolin, just can't do it. On the way back, Liang Tingshan received a call from MS. When reminded him carefully on the other end of the phone, Zhuolin, the weather is getting colder, remember to put on an extra layer of clothes. Liang Tingshan suddenly remembered something. MS. When hasn't called him Tingshan for a long time. It seems that the year Liang Tingshan left Hong Kong from Nanyin, he also disappeared. He has been Zheng Zhuolin for many years.